Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to the final predictions of the domestic football season. Sophie, we've got the FA Cup final and the Championship playoff final this weekend, and then that is it.
One of these is fairly straightforward to predict, and the other one is almost impossible to predict.
Oh, you think the FA Cup final is impossible to predict?
Yeah, that's the right way.
Guys, make sure as ever to share your predictions down in the comments. Let us know what you think of these games. And I just want to say once again, a massive thank you for your support. Let's go for 1,000 likes. Make sure you're hitting that like button. It's free to do. Get involved and make sure as well you are subscribed. It's free to like, it's free to subscribe, and we're closing in on 66,000 subscribers. That would be an amazing achievement, so get involved. The final thing I will quickly say, Sophie, is congratulations, by the way, because you have smashed the Premier League predictions this week. You've been better than me at the weekly predictions and in the table predictions at the start of the season. But I'll take credit for being better at Championship predictions this season, because I smashed you at the weekly predictions this year and the table predictions. So on this channel we can distinguish that this season Sophie is the Premier League expert and I am the Championship expert. Share your thoughts on that, guys, down below. Let's get into some predictions, Sophie. Let's start with Saturday's game. It's the Manchester derby in the FA Cup final for a second year running, Sophie. Let's just quickly mention the semi-finals and how they got here, Sophie, because really we could be talking about a Coventry Man City FA Cup final, but I'm over it. Manchester City beat Chelsea 1-0. There was a little bit of controversy in that game with the penalty that wasn't given, I believe, but ultimately Man City, I'm not surprised to see them in an FA Cup final, and a real chance of doing a double this year, which is just incredible. It's 4 years in a row they've won the Premier League. Last year they did a treble. They've got to be strong favourites here. Manchester United, they got past Liverpool really well in the quarterfinals, and they got loads of good plaudits for that and lots of praise. But when they got past Coventry, Sophie, it was not convincing for a team that's supposed to be one of the best in England.
Exactly. First half they looked very, very good, and then there was a couple of substitutions, but they just fell apart second half, and they're letting a team in the Championship who at that time we were in bad form. And we looked like the Premier League team come second half. And without that VAR decision, if they'd scrapped VAR, we'd be in the final with Man City.
Yes, that is very true. I mean, some people will be quick to point out that they got the decision right. I think the lines are drawn very controversially.
Yes.
Anyway, Manchester United, Sophie, not been convincing this season. But what I will say is they've been all right in the last couple of games, actually. They beat Newcastle United. They also beat Brighton on the final day. So they've ended the season with a couple of decent results. It's meant they've finished 8th, which isn't great. But if they win this, they'll still be in Europe, So there'll be Chelsea fans watching this game hoping they don't win, because if they don't win, then Chelsea are in the Europa League. So it's quite important to other teams as well. Manchester United, yes, they've improved a little bit over the last couple of games, but I'm not going to let that mask over what has been a really poor season. And they're going up against the best of the best. I can't see anything but a Man City win. But I won't go as harsh as I feel like I could. I'm actually going to go for Manchester United's players to turn up. I think when they know it's a big game and it actually means something, they'll turn up. But ultimately, even if they do turn up, Man City have still got the better quality.
Yes.
Man City 2-1.
Okay, I'm going to throw another goal in there. I'm going to say Man City 3-1. I think beginning of the game could be a little bit cagey, because Man United, as you say, at times they can turn up. They have turned up at stages in the season, but not enough. And they have got some really good players. I know they've got a few injuries as well. But you're coming up against Man City, and they are just unreal. As you've said, they've won the Premier League 4 years in a row. They're very, very good, very dominant. So you almost go into the final thinking, like, just don't get beat too bad. So for me, I'm going to go 3-1 Man City. I think that man Foden could get a couple. He's in great form as well. And yeah, Man City did the double.
Manchester City 3-1. Wow. Share your thoughts, guys, down below. I mean, I don't think it's a total surprise that we're both going for Manchester City. No. They are strong favourites for that game. On to the other game then, Sophie. On the Sunday, this is a massive one. And this is where it gets close. It's Leeds United versus Southampton. Now, we might find on the day one team beats the other 3-0. If one of them turns up and one doesn't, that might happen.
Yeah.
But right now, before the game, this is a desperately difficult one to call, Sophie. I'm really scratching my head thinking, what am I going to go for here? I mean, It's very, very difficult.
It is. I've still not made my mind up right now. That's how difficult it is.
Yeah.
There's no favourites for me in this.
It depends how you want to look at this. A lot of people will point towards the head-to-head records where Southampton did the double. That could be quite crucial. One thing I will say is when Southampton beat them at St Mary's, that was quite early in the season when Leeds hadn't really gelled together necessarily, and Southampton went on a good run at that time, I believe. When they played on the final day, you could make an argument that Leeds didn't think they were going to make the top two anyway. I don't know. In the playoffs, Sophie, after the Leeds United 4-0 win against Norwich, I thought to myself, no one's going to stop them.
Yeah.
But then Southampton looked very good against West Brom.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh, hang on. You know. So we've got Goliath versus Goliath. Leeds United finished third. They just finished ahead of Southampton this season. In terms of attacking quality, I really like Leeds United's front line. I mean, Somerville, Perot, Nonto, James. I mean, even players on the bench could get into other top championship teams. They've got an unbelievably strong team. But Southampton have scored more goals than them in the championship this season. And of course, you need to watch out for Adam Armstrong. You know, he's
very, very good in the championship.
I'm really struggling to predict this, Sophie. I had a look at the bookmakers' odds, and they're making Leeds slight favourites.
I thought maybe.
Very slight favourites, but not like worth putting any money on. This game is just so close. When I've looked at pundits and podcasters and, you know, people that do YouTube videos like ourselves and looked at their predictions so far, quite a lot have actually gone for Southampton.
Oh, right.
I'm really split on this. Is there a mentality that Leeds United might, you know, mess it up on the big stage? Possibly. You know, some people that don't like Leeds United like to sing that Leeds are falling apart, but they didn't fall apart in the playoff semis. They were very good, 2 clean sheets, and an emphatic home win. I'm really struggling, Soph. Like we said before, neither Daniel Farke or Russell Martin have any experience in the playoffs, but they're the ones that have made it to the final, not Wagner and not Corberon. Oh, Soph, give us some more thoughts before we get onto a prediction. I'm struggling.
I am struggling, and I think for a while this could be a cagey affair, but then I just see if one goes in, the other team just going at it, rather than thinking, oh, we can get one back and maybe drag it out. I think they'd have to throw everything at it. So I think there could actually be a few goals.
Well, yes, it's interesting you say that, because when you compared the playoff semi-final first legs and second legs, the first legs there was no goals.
Yeah, it was dreadful, really, wasn't it? But I understand why. And then the second leg, you get the games at home and you think, well, go for it now. So they played it smart, really. The
games really came to life when they were at home to what they would perceive to be weaker opposition. But honestly, I think Leeds and Southampton have got to look at each other, and it's almost like looking in the mirror. They've both just come down. They've both got loads of goals in their team. Oh, I'm making Leeds slight favourites, but I'm very tempted to go for Southampton here, Sophie. Honestly, I think whatever I go for here, the opposite is going to happen.
I think we're going to go for the opposites, to be honest. I don't know your prediction, but I think it's going to be opposite.
Right, let's do a prediction. I'm excited for this game. Wembley is going to be sold out. It's going to be incredible to see all the Leeds United fans in their white, Southampton in their red. We will stream this game on Sunday, so make sure you're watching the channel on Sunday if you're not going to the game. I'm going to go for it to be low scoring. I think it's going to go back to how the playoff semi-final first legs were. Cagey, bitty, maybe a couple of yellow cards here and there. I'll also make another prediction and say the team that doesn't win this game is getting automatics next season. I think the championship was stronger this year than it will be next year. Yeah. So just to be nice to both fans here, whoever doesn't win, for me, is going up next year. My prediction, 1-0 Leeds United.
See, I knew you were going to go Leeds because you've loved Leeds all season. What was it, 36 points?
Well, yeah, but the thing is...
actually, they probably won't want you to back them because
that's true.
You've been over backing them.
The thing is here, I thought to myself, if I back them, I'm going to get accused of backing them again. Yeah. If I don't back them, people will be like, oh, you've only changed your mind because you know how biased you are towards them. So honestly, I can't win. I'm going for Leeds. What are you saying?
Okay, so I'm actually going for the opposite. I'm going to throw a few more goals in there, purely because Leeds are the favourite and sometimes that doesn't work well. I think it really could go either way. I'm finding this very, very difficult, but I've got to pick a winner. I'm going to say 2-1 Southampton. I'm not going to say that's in the 90 minutes because that could be an extra time. I'm just going for an overall Southampton win 2-1. No penalties.
No penalties. But you do think it might go to extra time?
I think it could do, yeah. I think it could be 1-1 and then Southampton nick it in extra time.
I mean, this has got to be one of the most glamorous Championship playoff finals in a long time. Yeah. And that's no disrespect to our team, for example, because last year it was Luton versus Coventry. But that was like the underdog final, wasn't it?
It was two underdogs going at it. And then you're like happy either way, which is really weird being a Cov fan. And then you're rooting for Luton the whole of the next season.
Well, exactly. I mean, the Championship playoff final last year was two underdogs that had come up from League Two.
Whereas this is two big dogs.
This is two XL bullies.
Two Rottweilers.
Ripping each other apart in the final, and honestly it's going to make for a great game. Like I say, guys, that wraps up our predictions. Share your thoughts on the Manchester derby and the Leeds United Southampton games at Wembley this weekend. Which one are you more excited for?
The latter. Definitely,
really?
Yeah, definitely the playoff game. Because for me, the FA Cup game's pretty straightforward. It's almost boring. I don't even have to watch it. I know how it's going to play out. And the playoff game really could go either way, so it's going to be a very, very interesting watch.
Yes, share your thoughts then, guys, down below. Make sure you've dropped a like. It's free to do. Let's get to 1,000. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you for joining me, Sophie.
Thank you.
We will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace out.